so I said, yes, please, give it to me. But then when it was actually time to read it, I was not feeling it. We are back for another Christian review of regular books, and today we are discussing Monster of the Dagger Mountains. Let's get into it. For those of you who haven't seen one of these videos before, here's how it's going to go down. First, I do my regular review, my own personal opinion of the book, my star rating, etc. But then we get into the Christian review, and that's where I go over the basic pieces of a book that may or may not have a fellow believer or anyone wanting to read it. I give a lot more information and any caveats about these Christian reviews at the video that's pinned at the top of the playlist, or there should be a tag somewhere here for you to click on over. If you didn't click on over there and you're still here, I also want to remind you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can stay up to date on all of these Christian reviews of regular books, plus me and my mom's podcast, The Journey We Share. Now let's go ahead and get into my regular review. Monster of the Dagger Mountains was sent to me as an ARC. I was so excited when I got the opportunity because I'm a part of this publishing house, but a lot of the ARCs that they provide have a lot of spice. And so this book had no spice. It was not on a trigger warning or a concern warning, a content warning. So I said, yes, please, give it to me. But then when it was actually time to read it, I was not feeling it. I couldn't get into the mood, but I had to pick it up, so I did. And I'm so glad that I did. I actually ended up loving this book. I couldn't put it down. It's a very quick and easy read. It is now available on Kindle Unlimited if you are a KU subscriber. And it is a fast, kind of standalone feeling. Since then, another book has come out by the same author that is kind of a continuation of the story, but you close the book without any sort of cliffhanger where you feel like you need to know what's going to happen next. And I loved that. I will say also that I enjoyed the book so much that I would have taken more books, and I was hoping that another book would come out, so I'm hoping to read that follow-up in the future because it was really great writing. Meredith Hart wrote a kind of Beauty and the Beast retelling in a lot of different ways. Also, if you're a fan of ACOTAR, especially that first book, it's a similar kind of feel, but with a little bit more found family in that first book. I just was so engaged in the storyline and in the relationship dynamics. I will say it's a little plot light. It didn't have as much action or intrigue. So maybe now that I'm very high fantasy focused with my fantasy books, I may not have the same feelings about it. But at the time that I read it, I had a fantastic time and I rated it 4.25 stars. Just a real quick reminder, if you're wanting to stay up to date on what I'm reading and rating, you can do so by following me on Goodreads. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and I do have my own YouTube channel, so if you're wanting to follow me in any of those places, you can check down in the description box. Now let's go ahead and get into my Christian review. Monster of the Dagger Mountains. The first category I always love to touch on is smut or spice because it's popular, and there were a few small scenes. It's nothing major, very easy to skip through, doesn't mess with the plot when you do skip past them, and overall, I think was part of the writing and the story, but nothing very graphic, so that was a win. The second category is if there's any violence or gore, and there really isn't much. There's a few scenes, but a lot of it's more like suspense, or again, the growing storyline, more so than an intense violent plot. And finally, the magic system, which I always talk about in any fantasy book, but the magic system in this book was very, very light, like erring on the side of non-existent. It really didn't play a major role, and it was very easy to read this book as just kind of a fantasy light story. It was fantastic. Overall, I think this book is great for someone 15, 16 and up. I think it's a fun story and you will have a great time, and I think most teenagers would love it. Please know that we don't want the conversation to end here. I would love to know if you've read this book by Meredith Hart, or if you want to now that you've heard this review, or you can send us an email at hello@trokia.org. I cannot wait to see you on the next one.